What's going on, plugins? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to talk about Kentucky versus Florida. Before we get into this video, make sure you drop a like. And if you're new here, sub to the channel and become a part of the family. Now let's get into the video. Kentucky entered their SEC opener against Florida, who was an undefeated team. So this was looked at as a tough opening game for their conference schedule. Heading into this game, Kentucky only has 2 losses. Their recent loss was against Ohio State. Most people look at this as an embarrassing loss because they got blown out and lost by 20 points. But after that, they got back on track and beat Brown in a blowout win. So heading into this game, people were wondering, will Kentucky really knock off Florida in their undefeated season? I know some people feel like Kentucky's overrated and they're not that good of a team, and that loss to Ohio State proved they're not as good as everyone thinks. But I want to point out that Kentucky, before entering this game, was 2-0 against teams ranked in the AP top 10. Florida's ranked in the top 10, so I expected Mark Pope to have his team ready for this matchup because they always play good against ranked teams. In the first half of this game, Kentucky had a slow start, but throughout this season, they have started a lot of games like this, not playing good on offense and defense. It seemed like Florida was going to build a nice lead and take over this game, but Kentucky started to lock in and play better. They went on a 16-0 run. Kobe Bryant came up big for Kentucky with his scoring. He had 14 points, and he's 4 for 5 from 3. Kobe Bryant is one of the best three-point shooters in college basketball, and he reminded everybody about that in this game. In the last 10 minutes, Kentucky's defense was overwhelming Florida. Lamont Butler had some key steals towards the end of the half, and he scored off those turnovers. Kentucky forced 6 turnovers and scored 15 points off of that. Florida scored 0 points off their turnovers, so Kentucky was cashing in off of Florida's mistakes. Kentucky ended the first half with a 10-point lead, 52-42. In the second half, both teams were playing well. These teams are balanced, so they made sure to stay in striking distance of each other. Around 13 minutes and 15 seconds, the game was tight. Kentucky only had a 1-point lead, so the big lead they had in the first half was basically gone. But Kentucky didn't panic and they kept playing good, and they eventually went on a 10-0 run. Kobe Bryant stayed hot from 3 down the stretch late in the game. He knocked down a few threes. Florida had no answer for him. It seemed like Kentucky was going to run away with the game, but Florida made sure they was in this game until the end. Andrew Carr knocked down a 3 with 1:24 left, and that sealed the game for Kentucky, and they had an 8-point lead. They won this game 106-100. The 106 points that they scored is the most points they scored at home versus an AP top 10 team in school history, and Mark Pope wins his first 3 games against an AP top 10 opponent with Kentucky. So right now, when it comes to facing a top 10 team, don't bet against Kentucky because they're going to somehow come out with the win. Them being undefeated against teams ranked in the top 10 proves that Mark Pope is one of the best coaches in college basketball. He's doing this in his first season with Kentucky. Kentucky has 6 players in double figures against Florida. The 2 highest scorers this game were Kobe Bryant, who had 23 points and he shot 78% from 3, and Lamont Butler, who had 19 points and a game-high 8 assists. Also, I want to give a shout out to Amari Williams. He had 15 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. He showed a lot of toughness in the paint playing defense, and he was efficient making shots around the rim. He only missed 1 field goal, and he showed some great passing. He was finding teammates cutting to the basket for easy shots. Kentucky cutting to the basket was something he did very well this game. And Otega Owe, who had 16 points, he's Kentucky's best 3-level scorer, and he's the team's leading scorer. Kentucky has one of the deepest teams in college basketball. Anybody can have a big scoring night, or it's going to be 5 or 6 players. They're going to score over 10 points, and they can just win that way. Mark Pope is going to need his team to be playing their best right now because the SEC is looking like the toughest conference in college basketball. There's a lot of ranked teams in the AP top 25. They got to go through some tough teams like Tennessee, Auburn, and Alabama, and all 3 of those teams are ranked in the top 5. So the SEC is no cakewalk. Y'all feel what I'm saying, plugins? It's going to be interesting to see if Mark Pope can keep his undefeated streak alive against top 10 teams. I can see him losing against Auburn or Tennessee, but they won't lose both those games. If they end up beating both those teams, nobody can really talk bad about Kentucky this season. Their next game is against Georgia, and I expect them to win that game, but their next big game to me will be against Alabama on January 18th. I'll make a video for y'all after that game, but Kentucky fans, enjoy this win against Florida, and congrats to Mark Pope getting his win against a ranked team. Kentucky fans, how do y'all feel about this win against Florida? Do you believe Kentucky's one of the best teams in college basketball? Drop y'all opinions in the comments, drop a like on the video, and sub to the channel. If you want more Kentucky videos, smash that like button, turn on post notifications so you know when I post. More college basketball videos on the way. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you in the next video. Till next time.